Hi everybody, welcome to Rodrigue Molyneaux's virtual tasting of the 2020 August club release wines, and this one is on the 2017 Il Segreto. And the Il Segreto is one of our blends here, and it is a French-Italian blend, and Il Segreto means the secret in Italian, but don't worry, we'll let you in on some secrets about this wine. So, if you have the bottle in front of you and a glass, go ahead and pour yourself some, which I'm sure you've already done. And if you have something to cover the glass with, that is helpful for keeping those nice aromas concentrated in the glass until you're ready to sniff them. And give it a few good swirls. And then stick your nose nice and deep in there and take some really deep breaths. Take a few deep breaths even with your nose really deep in there. And if you start finding that the aromas are starting to dissipate a little bit, you can just repeat putting your cover over the glass, swirling, and even clearing your nasal passages with a little sniff of the back of your hand. It's a nice neutral scent that won't really influence what you smell in the glass. Or if you have another glass of wine next to you, go back and forth between those two, because that will really highlight the differences between the two wines. So going back to the bouquet, what I'm really getting a lot of, what's really hitting me first off is that it's got a nice sort of cherry berry pie aroma. Since this is an Italian-French blend, let me go into a little bit into the Italian descriptors here. If anybody's familiar with an Amarena cherry, it's sort of the Italian version of, maraschino cherries, I guess, are technically Italian too, but Amarena cherry is a much more sophisticated style of maraschino cherry. It's a lot darker. And so you don't get as much of those super tutti frutti flavors and aromas that you get with a maraschino. It's a much more serious cocktail cherry. So I'm getting some of that. Some more like of the purple red fruits. Kind of like ripe fruits, like juicy fruits, maybe slightly, sweet ripe fruit, sun-ripe fruits. Just a little bit of smokiness and like just a hint of a dark roasted coffee on the back end there. So let's go ahead and taste this and see what we get on the palate. Make sure that you're sort of pulling in some air over the wine when you have it in your mouth. That will help to release some of those volatiles and help you taste more complex flavors. So really what I'm getting from this is, again, those dark fruits like blackberry, like black cherry, maybe a little bit of cocoa, like a cocoa powder, and some like really moist soil, maybe like the moist soil when you're tilling your garden or you're, doing some plantings in some pots in the backyard, that type of a soil. Not mud, not dry, but somewhere in between. And then as far as mouthfeel goes, this to me is more of a medium plus bodied wine. I think that so this wine, just to let you know, the blend on it is, it's generally usually a Cabernet Sauvignon Sangiovese Barbera blend, but the blend percentages are different every year because the vintage is different every year, and we get a different result every year. So this year, the blend is actually 58% Cabernet Sauvignon, 35% Barbera, and 7% Sangiovese. So mostly what I'm getting mouthfeel and flavor and aroma wise is going to be coming from the cab, and that's and adding sort of a lush body to the wine. The Barbera gives it sort of like the bright red, juicy fruits and a little bit of acidity on the finish. And the Sangiovese keeps everything from getting too heavy. So they really work very nicely together. And the tannic structure is apparent from mid-palate through the finish, but it's not a heavy structure at all. So let's just take one more sip for good measure. Just a little bit about the winemaking on this wine and where the grapes came from on this wine too. So this, the Cabernet Sauvignon and Barbera both came from the estate here in front of the winery. And the Sangiovese came from Rubino Vineyard, which is sort of on the west end of town near Ruby Hill and Pleasanton. It got aged in 20% new American oak, so just a touch of new oak, and then sterile filtered and bottled on August 7th, 2019, and we got 78 cases out of it. And you know, I would love to tout the awards that this wine could have won, but we didn't actually enter it in competition. We were going to this year, but most of the competitions got canceled. So, but to us, it's a platinum medal winner here. So, just a few pairing ideas for you guys before we go. This is sort of an unusual wine to sort of try to pair because it's such an unusual blend. So you have the nice juicy fruity body, but then you have like a nice acidic finish to it. And so it's going to really go well with things like tri-tip with chimichurri sauce. The tri-tip is going to be able to handle the body and sort of the smoky, darker flavors of the wine. And the chimichurri is really going to go well with the acidity of the wine. Even roasted root vegetables like ratatouille would be really good with this. And maybe something with just a little bit of spice, like a Cajun rub chicken or pork loin would be really good. You know, rub it with some Cajun spices and maybe a little bit of brown sugar, throw it on the grill, and that would go really well with this wine too.